Good morning. This is the crypto day morning. Today's date comes in that of Friday, the 8th of March, 2019. All bets, trades of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. I really don't know where the price of Theta is going to move to next, with the two choices being a significant leg lower than this, really back to where it came from, 2600, maybe even probably even down to 23, or that of a significant break above this resistance level and a decent sized leg higher than that. I guess the favorite would be lower, just simply for the mathematical level, for the amount of decline it would take to go from 32.79 down to say 25. It's only like 700 plus basis points, and a clear breakout is well over like 5,000. So on that mathematical level, I guess it would be favored to go lower. But as far as what I would care or what, yeah, I guess I would rather it come back down, because sure, playing markets that go straight up, I'm fine with that. But I do like it when they have the price pullbacks, or thus my buy orders, and I'm not buying back until 26 and a little over that. So anything that or this move down here, I didn't buy this, and I honestly know breaking, or I definitely know breaking down below the 3,000 mark, it's probably going to go down to 25 conservatively, but I would even predict that it would go to about 23 to 22 and a half if there's a break of resistance, and then support rather, and break of resistance, as I've been stating, yeah, it could be 7,000 and more easy. And then quickly covering Raven coin, which was congesting at the bottom price area around 280, getting close to the 1,000 mark today at 984, thus another higher high for today, and barely closing, or barely at a higher price from its 7 p.m. price point at 902 Satoshi now. Well extended above the 18 average of highs, which is to me a no buy zone unless you have good fundamental reasons, and that's a double play, because not only do you would have to know that something like this is going to go way much higher, you also got to realize that it's very low chances it's going to pull back. One of the first spots I'd be looking for would be this congestion area here on that of a pullback. Also, of course, I would, if you knew fundamentally it's going to go up and you're like, okay, I want to get in this, I don't own any. I don't like buying when it's up like this, but I'm planning on buying X amount, and I'm only buying a small amount now. So I do want to buy now and welcome pullbacks to 800, 700, 600, because I'm going to be buying all the dips moving forward, yada yada, for things like that. But this market has just had an incredible run higher after a nice grind to the downside, as we've used such on the weekly. Next up is DGB, and I haven't even started with Bitcoin yet, which I'll get to that next. This is just incredible what was going to happen here with this exact number, pretty area where we're at now. If not exact for the short term, maybe a Satoshi lower. It was this level of Pierce extra resistance December 19th time frame, and then again after the first week of January. Spending a good decline move, going from over 300 down to 2 1/3, 235. And then this rally here on February the 24th, amazingly good pullback. When you go from 300 to 263. For a short-term move like that, that's like 30 plus, that's like over 10% in just one day. And then to come back to it, another good 3 day pullback to a higher low, albeit barely. Not really. This low is here at 263. No, that's not too barely. That's 275. And then back up to this high again. So test number 3 on the recent term here, and then a couple back in here. And then 2 days of just riding this 18 average of, well, excuse me, yesterday or 2 days ago riding this 18 average of highs. Yesterday back to this level, and then today it's at that now. So therefore, let's stick a little horizontal ray at this line. Let's even do the exact first retest hit from the February 24th high, 1 Satoshi lower than current price. Take a quick gander at the multiple time frames. And this is just that pattern. When you look at something like this, if you're ever looking for something that's screaming to go higher, this to me looks like one of them. As again, all these resistance hits, how it's been holding these higher lows over and over. It's just magnificent move. And I'm just going to fix this here so that it's easily seeable on the single hour. You can draw trend lines moving up in here however you wish, but they're holding on that sense. This is now two complete or 1.5 hours with last hour staying at the 303, 304 number, as is this one, after managing to get above a bid price of this 303 that it wasn't able to get above, that was fighting and battling with for a few hours. So I like the potential of this one, as I state, going forward. And let's move on to Bitcoin against the US dollar. We'll start with its hour time frame and transition to the 4 and the daily. But the uptrend line is fantastic here again. The line of resistance here, pierced below on this hour here. We hit it here. 2 times hit in here for this time. Hit it here. Pierce above it here, but unable to hold it as support, but able to hold where it came from, which was a barely rising 18 average. But now, over the last several hours, we come back up to this line again on a few hours ago. Higher low pullback, and now it doesn't take much of a move as it's congesting, so like just crunching into each other, which is the support level and the 3,886 number. It looks pretty interesting, and but I know the daily chart. I mean, we're going to see it here. The daily chart has got a good holding pattern within its 18, but throwing that aside, we'll see that in a bit. There's a big down move, which followed a sideways correction. There's a microscopic down move, which followed even a microscopic time correction. And then a matching move to this one, a microscopic rally, which was greater than this, but by all means smaller than this decline and smaller than its previous rally. And then it's been going sideways, but it's been making higher lows along the way. Its resistance level, as we can state or seen before, we had a nicer kind of pierce above this, showing a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs. And I'd be looking forward to test this 4,100 level if it's able to break above this resistance point, especially if you can see it hold and stay above it. And as far as Bitcoin on the daily term time frame, really 3 pause days from this rebound up day. And it shows a lot of strength because I like to see it just come back to where it came from in this congestion range, which would be 38. But it's doing so in the 38.5 high level, or the 38 mid to 38 high mark. It's right where the 18 average of highs is. And yeah, I see it break above this. Short term, maybe resistance at 39.89 or in this area, but that's all I would expect. I would expect on a clear break that the daily term candle, or within just 10 to 20 hours, that we probably would get up here. When I say 10 to 20 hours, I probably should say literally like 20 to 40 minutes. But the market does what it does. It just usually, when it has these moves, can be very fast. And then when I say that, it could be like 2, 3, 4 days and have superior gains. Something like it was back in this bottom area, where after it left this 3,200 area, big green candle up, another good green candle up, then another rally, but it came back with an intraday correction, then another big green candle up, going from 3,200 to 4,200, and what was the span of 4 days. Market movements like that on key breaks, most certainly, and I like those a lot better than the single day moves myself, but that's Bitcoin for you. Within Litecoin against the dollar, it already had its break above the resistance, which is on the March the 5th, and it was at that of about 53 and a third. Since it broke above it, it had a small up day 2 days ago. It had a pause day to it, or continued its move, but it didn't do so for that large of a gain, and it didn't really retrace much. And as I look at this currently, if the market can stay below 58.86 and above 53.72, and thus far it has, and currently in the middle of those numbers, or not close enough to it, yeah, inside day. And an inside day, or an inside period, but on a daily time frame, you could use that term, is where you have your low higher than its previous day, your high lower than such. Really a pause day, trying to still digest within the previous day's movements. So I'm looking at this thing via the single hour time frame. When we look at the inside day, what happened? Let me just try to scroll this. Yep. So we have this low in here that came in at this 4 hour time frame, then this high, and really since then it's just done a bunch of nothing, going sideways. On its first move, well, it had the attempt to possibly have a good decline, but it didn't do it. The attempt to break out occurred at 1 a.m., but it obviously quickly receded back to where it came from. Thus, an attempt to break down, and it didn't do that. It's just hanging in there, not doing much. Which means when it's ready to do so, you're going to have a significant move, or if you break down below this, probably at least go down to the 50 mark. Maybe all you do is go down to 52. And then breaking this resistance, as I've been talking about, is... And this thing, I got price targets 125, 130. If this thing can really go really quick, I wouldn't be surprised for something like that to occur. But the market's going to do what it's going to do. And against the Bitcoin cross within Litecoin, double bottom, I guess you could look at this as. It was also a double top. Why was it both? Well, the double top is 2U or V-shaped formation. So as the market rallied up to here, hit this resistance, came back down. It doesn't really matter where it goes as long as it's somewhere. And then for a double top, you need to come back to where it came from, check mark here, and then go back to where you came from again, which was technically close, pierce above, but for it really to be a valid setup, it's got to break that neckline. It never did. It never even attempted to do so because it could break it. It's still got to hold. It's got to continue further. It's got for this one, it has to hold and stay below it or have a significant large move, one or the other. Usually, it's that large move. Not often is it a hold and stay. So the double bottom is the opposite of it. So we have this U-shaped formation, and then resistance. Come back down again. There's your bottom part area for this, and now it's going to get above the neckline. Well, it's done that. And it actually has held and stayed above it for a decent amount of time. I think that the probability odds, if it's going to come back down for it to be a successful move, is high. I don't know what the next move is going to be, whether we're going to have something in the area of around 133, which would be close to 10% down, or close to 10% up. I don't know. But again, I realize that the mathematical odds, as this is playing out, because of how it's broken this level of resistance, hasn't went up much, but it's went up enough and a decent amount, maybe a bit more even than I would want to for this kind of setup. And the setup is some sort of good pattern breakout, which is here, barely breaking above, having its correctionary move, which either means it's going to come back down to price, usually back to where it came from, which would always meet up with the 18, or it's just going to keeps going sideways, and then the 18 is going to catch up with it in about a week and a half or close to that. But that usually means to me that the probability odds, again, for a decent sized move is in place, especially as I see this. This is a live setup as it broke above this level of resistance. So as it was breaking above 107, 108, it was a live setup to go higher. And it managed to go up to where this line's at the 130. 3 periods going sideways, and now it's broken resistance. It's now a live play as it's broken this level of resistance, and I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes up to 160 into this previous congestion area. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.